Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot see you. I'm going to pretend I'm in a massive stadium with tens of thousands of people there to listen to myself and the pictures afterwards, because it's just one big wall of white light. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Owen O'Neill. I'm working in DG Connect, a very important service of the Research and Innovation family, of which this is the flagship event, RNI Days. I'm delighted to be here in the Innovative Europe Hub, and in particular for the pitching session for the Innovation Radar Prize 2019. I want to, before giving the floor to the illustrious finalists for this pitching session, I want to give you a quick, just a few words about Innovation Radar, about this prize scheme, about what we're trying to do and our plans for the future. So please, bear with me, bite your lips, indulge me in this. So look, what have we got? Yeah, this is it. There's the logo, Innovation Radar Prize. What do we have today? Why, stepping back even from the prize scheme, why do we have this thing called Innovation Radar? Forgetting about the prize scheme just for the moment. There's three things that I would offer on our side, on the European Commission side, that we absolutely must do for Horizon 2020, for Horizon Europe, the world's largest public funding research and innovation programs ever. And those three things are identifying, championing, wrong order in terms of the animations there, and supporting the innovators, the innovations they're developing with the EU funding. We need to have an intelligence system that helps us identify from across the thousands of projects that are funded and will be funded in the future, to identify the excellence. What is out there, what's emerging, how mature, how ready for the market it is. And then once we know who is doing amazing and what amazing things, we support them in that more difficult step of getting out of the laboratory and into the marketplace. And equally, championing, holding up role models, excellence, showing the wider world, as in addition to the community that is here at an event such as this, the excellence that's in the program and that is being delivered with the public funding of Horizon 2020 and in the future, Horizon Europe. And it's under that championing banner. That's one of the things we are doing with the intelligence and the data, the growing store of signals we're gathering from the program using this Innovation Radar methodology. So one thing just to highlight about the radar methodology, when we're scanning across the portfolio, using external experts who understand the challenges of getting out of the laboratory and into the marketplace, what we're scanning is not the project as a construction, but the beneficiaries within it and the innovations, because that is where the important thing, while each and all of us, be it on our side in the Commission or those funded inside projects, while projects is an important construction, what matters is not the project construction. It's the beneficiaries within it, because it is those beneficiaries that are, if anybody, is going to take action to get something from the laboratory into the marketplace. Equally, Innovation Radar focuses on the outputs, the innovations coming from the program, from the projects, and tries to understand how ready they are for market, what sort of support they need. So in a nutshell, Innovation Radar is about giving us intelligence about the outputs and how market ready they are, identifying them, supporting them, and championing them. So staying with championing for the moment, that's why we're here. This is one of our vehicles, the Innovation Radar Prize. This is its 5th year. And today there are 4 prize categories that are up for grabs. We have Tech for Society, innovations, breakthroughs that can benefit society, be it in terms of climate change challenges, transportation, health, etc. Women-led innovation. This is a brand new category. We've never had this in previous years. And we have it because since last year we started capturing a signal with the Innovation Radar about innovations that are being led by women. And I'm delighted that we have this new category. We have 3 finalists who will be pitching here today. Innovative science. Pushing the envelope of science, the researchers out there, the scientists out there, and seeking opportunity in the marketplace, the scientific progress that can impact in the marketplace. Again, 3 finalists will be pitching here shortly today. And finally, but by no means least, industrial and enabling tech. essential components to drive the next wave of the ongoing industrial revolution, new version of same. We'll have 3 finalists. Well, actually, we don't. Bad news. We have 2. We had a dropout. Somebody who fell ill. They quit their company at short notice, could not replace them. So we have 2 finalists who are here with us today for this prize category. So, and indeed, the jury members will be selecting 1 overall Grand Prix winner from those who are pitching here today. The overall Grand Prix winner will be featured by Euronews in a 4-minute dedicated program about their organization, their innovation, and their plans to secure opportunity in the marketplace. I'm delighted to introduce to you our jury. 5 esteemed professionals working in the investment, the startup communities. I'm not going to ask them to come up individually and introduce themselves, but if I could, starting in no order of priority, in the order of gender first, females first, then an alphabetical order within the gender categories by surname. Okay, this has been thought through. This is not a random order. So please, Teresa Cunha from Portugal is one of our the First Lady. Aurelia Islime from France, but living in London. Carlos, where are you? I can see just your shadow. Carlos Bartolo from Portugal. Gerard van der Heuven from the Netherlands. And by no means least, Arno. Arno de la Tour, okay. Arno de la Tour. Anyway, he's not here. We've got 4, at least we've got 4 jury members. That is quorum, okay? All right. So, next up, what have we got? Yeah, listen, tomorrow in this fabulous room, capacity for 10,000 people, we have the winners will be announced at 15:45 through to, that's wrong, 16:15, half hour. You don't have to put up with a 1-hour drawn-out ceremony. It is a half-hour ceremony starting at 3:45 tomorrow afternoon in this very room. Okay, I think without further ado, we can get straight into the pitching. Tech for Society is the first category. And if I could have to this stage the first pitching finalist, that is eye control. Please, the floor is all yours. Okay. Oh, and you.
I'm not sure if...
Wait. I'm just trying to see where we're going to organize the clock. The 3-minute countdown clock, okay? But I see it. It's over here. Hang on, I got it. The floor is all yours, and when you're ready, we'll start the clock. Okay?
Sure. Whatever. Okay. So my name is Oretskin, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of iControl. And today I will be speaking on behalf of a community who cannot express their needs. ALS and other locked-in patients cannot move and cannot talk. They all have perfect minds, but they are locked in their bodies. The current communication devices are cumbersome and requires the screen of the computer in order to communicate, and therefore they are not available most of the day. For example, when the patient wakes up at the middle of the night outside, or basically whenever he's not in front of the screen of the computer. 3 years ago, our co-founder, Shai Rishoni, had a vision to enable any locked-in patient the ability to communicate anytime and anywhere. iControl has 3 advantages. First, it is wearable. It is always on you. Second, it is screenless, so that for the first time, the patient has eye contact while communicating. And third, it is simple to use. In iControl, we don't use a screen, so instead of the visual feedback of the screen, we have an audio feedback from the bone conduction, so that the patient hears everything he wants to do instead of seeing it. The device enables 3 levels of communication, from calling to help until a full conversation, and it can be connected to other smart devices around you or the cloud. We originally developed the iControl for the ALS community, and then we expanded to other relevant patients, such as people after stroke, spinal injuries, CP, and other cases. However, each one of us might need the iControl after a surgery or a medical treatment. Almost 6 million people are visiting ICU departments in the States only. 40% of them cannot communicate with the medical staff because of the ventilation. In the facility segments, such as ICU, rehabilitation centers, skilled nursing facilities, what we do, we connect the headset of the iControl directly to the nurse station, and we are enabling for the first time communication between the patient's bed to the nurse station and to the physician's phone. So let's see what happened since we established the company in 2016. We achieved the CE mark, the FDA, and the medical ISO. We signed contracts with the NHS, the Israeli government. We got the codes of the Medicare and Medicaid. And from this year, from the last year, we started to sell the product fully reimbursed for the patients so that the government already pays for the patients at home. And we are doing big clinical trials that will start. We did one in the ICU environment, and we'll do another one with 6 ICU departments with the top physicians in the ICU in the world that will participate to see the implementation of eye control. The technology behind eye control also awarded the company with few awards, including the top 3 Israeli life-changing technologies and the #1 future tech company, and also the Horizon 2020, of course. These are the team behind it. All of the founders, we have one thing in common. We're all related to locked-in patients by this way or another. I was an officer in the Israeli Navy. My background comes from physics and finance. And 12 years ago, my grandmother passed away from ALS, so this is why I started the company. And together, today I have the honor to work with ALS patients, and together we're changing this reality. We will give locked-in patients their voice back. Thank you.
Don't go away, just wait. I'm delighted to announce our 5th member of our jury has arrived. Arno. Where's Arno? Yes, Arno is here. So we have the full jury is in the house. Jury, over to you for some questions, please. Carlos.
Can I make a question? What are you going to do next? I'm not saying in terms of...
microphone, excuse me.
Sorry. I'm just asking what are you planning to do next, not in terms of, let's say, development or sales, but in terms of vision of the company.
So today our vision is to really change the way of communication inside facilities for ventilated patients. Physicians in the fields of ICU see eye control as a game changer because really there is a big gap of communication. And also we see this platform for home care as it doesn't make sense that computers are the solutions for ventilated patients, people after a stroke. It doesn't make sense because they don't really have independency. And we see this as the next platform. Already today, you can speak to Alexa, Google Home, connects the smart house and everything.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about the business model you have in mind?
So we have 2 segments, like I showed. For the home care, so the device is reimbursed. So we have one-time payment paid by the governments. The Israeli government paid us one-time payment of around $2,800. Same, the NHS, £2,000 per one device. But we have the SaaS model. We upload to the cloud content like audiobooks, music, things that really enables, like we think about ourselves driving the car, hearing radio or music. So we upload more content to the cloud. So this is monthly payment. And for the facilities segments, so the headset and everything is disposable because you need to replace it between patients. So we have also recurring revenues. And here, I don't know if you saw, like we are now partnering with bigger players in the medical field because we are relatively a small company. So the CEO of Medtronic Israel joined our management. We'll partner probably with other companies, bigger global medical players.
How do you deal with guarantees and all that? And sort of support? Do you plan to do that yourself, or is that something you want to move over to partners?
So for support issues, the only thing you need to have at home is Wi-Fi connectivity. We can take over remotely for the device, unless it's hardware issues that you need to replace. So currently what we do, we replace usually most of if things happen, so we replace instead of fixing it at home. But most of the issues that are software, which are usually most of the issues, we take over the device remotely and we fix it.
Okay, one more time. Thank you very much for eye control. Well done. Okay, second finalist for the Tech for Society category. Peach Note, with their EU-funded innovation. You've got 3 minutes, and you're going to see a glorious 3-minute countdown clock over here on your left-hand side in a few moments. Okay? And yeah, oh yeah, that's yours. Good luck.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Vladimir Vero. I'm the founder of Peach Note, where we are working on removing technical barriers in music performance. Everybody, wherever we are coming from, whatever languages we speak, we share the same emotions, same affects, same feelings. And we project them daily outside, and we read them in others. Music is another universal language, and it's based on emotion. But it takes a lot of time to learn and hard work to learn it. It is worth it, however, because playing is to listening could be compared as dancing to watching other people dance. And probably this is because if you can move something, if you can change something, you enter an active relationship with it, you can enjoy it most. But there's often a gap between what people want to express and what they can express. Probably many of us in this room can attest to this. Studies show that about 80 to 85% of people starting to play an instrument drop it in the first few years because of frustration at the technical challenges with handling the instruments. Playing is just simply more challenging than it's rewarding. And so what we are going to do is we are going to change this. We are going to bring the pleasure of performance to people who previously have been just the listeners. You can say that, to use a metaphor, it will be possible to dance with the music, as if it were your best dance partner. You would be playing the same music, for example, piano music, but you will be doing this differently. So what is happening is that our system evaluates your expressions, your gestures, your natural gestures, and in the context of music and your personal style, and converts that into a performance. So this is at the heart of the system is this real-time translation system that takes the gestures and interprets them into the performance. With our performance technology, we are planning to enter the market by first addressing more specific niches and then expanding to larger audiences. Our first applications will be in the area of music performance, music therapy, and we have research and collaborations in China and Russia. We have first deployments planned in the next 6 months. We are going to expand the use case into primary music education, and we will make the music more engaging for school children. And we also have a partner that licenses our technology in China, and we plan to have 100,000 of users over the coming years there. We believe that our technology will fundamentally improve the quality of life, and many more people will become musically active thanks to it. In essence, we aim at eliminating the technical barriers that currently prevent hundreds of millions of people from expressing themselves and communicating through music, and with our technology and distribution channel, we hope to make the world a more musical place. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Jury, over to you. Questions for PeachNote.
Where are you now? So you have the device already, and you have tested it with some clients. And can I already ask a second question? So you have mentioned two markets. One is musical therapy, and the other one education, which are quite different.
Right. We start with music therapy, and we are developing the device right now, so it should be deployed in the next months. But of course, it will not be as user-friendly. It will be a research environment yet. The next stage is the same kind of research in education setting, so for school children, developing new approaches, and then we roll out as a product for the market where it is used in production, not in research anymore. So this is the state right now. But we have, I skipped over the slide, we have other products that are being used already by millions of people online, but just not this. So this is the next stage where we are bringing this device.
Okay, you said that you are treating data for cultural artifacts.
Yes.
Culture is just music, or you have other?
In this case, it's music, but so we are focusing on music, but it's actually related. So there is music as a cultural artifact, and there is human expression, and we are merging them. So we are observing a human being and see how they relate to this music. So it could be something else. It could be.
So what you license
yeah.
in China, is it a data set for machine learning?
So yeah, so we collect the data of about people reacting to music in different ways, to the same music, different people, and so on. And so we can create this translation system.
Okay.
So that is what is happening. Yes.
So you know Guitar Hero, right?
Of course, yes.
So that's basically what you're doing, but then by changing what people do really terribly on an instrument.
Yeah. So the thing with Guitar Hero is actually something completely different. So Guitar Hero is lets you pretend. So this is a play pretend, right? So this thing actually you make music with it. So that's the joy of it. So that you can really make music. So it's like dancing with somebody. You are creating this dance together. And so this here is the same. You are immersed in this. Of course, you can be immersed while playing Guitar Hero as well, but here it's about creating the new performances.
But then the service could only work with sort of digital instruments. So with singing, it's still terrible, right?
Not necessarily, absolutely not. First of all, there are great virtual instruments, for example, for piano. So that works already today perfectly. You cannot tell the difference, actually. Oh. And so this is actually our first instrument where we are applying this to as a piano. The recent technological developments will bring us probably within 1 or 2 years realistically sounding any instruments. Basically the same developments as neural networks that train on images of people and then render similar faces. So new people that do not exist. Same can be now done with instruments. So you can imagine, the system can imagine the sound of an instrument and control, the same as us. You know, you have a melody in mind, you can imagine it being performed on a certain instrument.
Hi. I just wanted to kind of get back to the problem identification.
Yeah.
From what you're saying, I can see 3 things. The first one being that the hard work of learning an instrument and the patience that it takes you.
Yeah.
But surely that's part of the journey of learning an instrument, is learning that discipline and that patience that makes you a great musician, right? If you take that away,
yes.
How does that work?
Absolutely. You want to?
Yes, I've got 2 more problem identification. The second one being, is your initial assumptions that all listeners would like to be performers? Because if you get rid of all the listeners, then who's going to listen to the art you're creating?
I think maybe starting with this last part.
Yeah.
It's not that people don't like to play. It's that it's too difficult and it's too challenging. You are not getting the results that you want and then you drop. Of course, learning an instrument and practicing it as a sport, like controlling your body, controlling the instrument, this is a separate aspect, and this is great. But there are many people who just drop it and do not continue with it in any case. And there are people who would like to, but they don't have the time or the money or the... basically, it's rather exclusive. Not everybody can afford their children music lessons. It's expensive. And it's expensive because of the friction with the instrument. If you compare playing musical instruments and playing computer games, it's accessible to anybody. And why? Because computer games are developed with the player in mind. So they take you where you are at the beginner level. Whereas music instruments are great when they are great for good performers. If you are a beginner, you suffer. So you have to suffer. And of course, you can say that the sport aspect remains, and we are not addressing that. That is true. But I hope that we will just raise the overall connection between the people and the music, so they will feel more involved with it. They will be more enabled in this area, and of course they will be also more interested in what professional musicians can do. But that is a...
And do you not think that could be achieved through listening rather than performing?
Yeah, I think our kind of toughest competition is imagination. Just because when you are listening, you can also be active in a way. It's not just passively receiving. You anticipate, you think about it, you play this melody in your mind, and that is actually what is happening here as well. But here you can really project it outside and experience it also with your body, which is also important. Whereas with music, you can do this, but you have to have this very trained imagination to do this, and musicians have it, but many people could get there quicker. Yeah.
Yeah, which brings me to my final point, which is, are you assuming that everyone could be a musician if given the tools?
I don't know whether 100% of people could be musicians, but I think maybe a considerable, like say 50%, would love to do this. There are statistics about how many people say they would like to play an instrument. Right? And this is on the more than 50%. So that is the situation, and just and how many people actively practice instruments? Less, or way less than that. So that is the gap that we are addressing. Maybe not 100%.
Are you a musician yourself?
Yes, I skipped a slide, unfortunately. Yeah, I played violin and piano, and also conducted orchestras. I find personally this is a great joy to do. Because of this whole immersion, and this is also the best way to experience music, is to actively experience it, because then you know it best. Then, yeah, that's the motivation behind this.
Okay. All right, thank you very much once again. Take note. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, VVO Group from Patras. Yes, you're here, brilliant. Great, because I didn't know that you were here, but delighted you are. Okay, we have the final finalist for the section, for the category Technology for Society. You're going to see a 3-minute countdown clock over there, which will start when you... No, it's not that scary. And the bell, over to you.
Okay, thank you. So, I'm Konstantinos Moustakas, professor and director of one of the biggest labs in the University of Patras and director of the Biomedical Engineering Master's Program. We will be talking about looking beyond the visible and inside the human body. I bet all of you have had at some time knee pain problems. Would it be nice to be able to estimate the root cause on site and in real time? So, this is myself on the left, 7 years ago, right after knee surgery, where I had to discuss thorough discussions with my well-known surgeon, and I admit having been a real pain. These discussions, however, led to the start of our research activities where we focused explicitly on estimating what cannot be seen inside the human body. So, in particular, as an example, load distributions and force distributions inside the knee during several activities. So this research led to, mainly supported by 2 European projects, led to numerous awards, some of them the 3 times Technical Achievement Award by Stanford University and publications in top-tier journals. Not sooner, however, than this year came the most significant, unique outcome that brings all our academic results closer to the market, which is real-time performance. We can only imagine what the potential applications can be having such a real-time system. We are working on osteoarthritis, rehabilitation, and implant prosthetics design, while initial validation showed that the error, actually the performance, is equal to current state-of-the-art systems, being, however, real-time, while the competition is far away from it. Scaling up to different conditions, short markets, similar markets like sports science and motion capture is a straightforward procedure. While to give you an example of our latest development, using an EMS, we can estimate whether a specific gait pattern or posture will result to reduction in knee load in specific regions inside the knee that are suffering from inflammation. And this comes in real time. Having that in real time now, we can develop sophisticated front ends, either in mobile devices or using augmented reality, where the patients treat themselves in a, let's say, playful manner in an mHealth domain, mobile health domain. Now, skipping myself and in counterclockwise order, the team consists of one of the 30 OpenSIM Stanford fellows worldwide, a reconstruction and analytics expert, a business planning and application domain expert, a real-time systems expert, biomechanics expert, and the team will be complemented by a marketing expert. Now, having achieved real-time performance of a tested technology in a complete interdisciplinary team with a pragmatic scaling plan, we are launching a spin-off by the end of the year, and we will move beyond TRL7 by finalizing, polishing, and exploiting this first flagship product. Of course, we will consider the FTI and other VC possibilities for making this a reality. And summarizing, we are indeed looking beyond the visible, but the knee is just the beginning. Thank you.
Okay. Jury, over to you. Get your microphone.
Yeah. Hello. I have one question about this last picture about the brain, because I think that's where we really have no clue what's going on. So how do you assess the probability that that eventually you manage to understand real time what's going on in the brain, and then at which level? Like probably not one neuron, but like what precision?
I like very much the question. I put that on purpose there. I will go back. Maybe I can use it. Okay, this. Sorry, I have 6 animations here. So, this no tremor is one of my favorite projects we have. I was the scientific coordinator of that, which aims to, for neurodegenerative disorders, to estimate in a forward manner and backward manner what's going inside in the brain. So, in a forward manner, for Parkinsonian patients, while giving a drug, how will biomechanics be affected? And in a reverse manner, this is what I like the most, being able to predict clinical state using motion capture. Okay? This is where we have one excellent scientific publication, but this is, if you see my last slide, this is the plan where we want to go. So, at the moment, we are in the part of biomechanics, knee, the knee, this is where we focus right now. Then we move towards the whole body, and then we have the brain. Our system, to give you an idea, is for the brain, for inverse simulation or engineering the brain, is far from real time. Needs about 2 minutes, using a specific motion capture input. So definitely, the brain is where we want to be in 5 years, if you could ask me.
Hello, I would just like you to speak a little bit about your leadership and governance of the project, because I understand there are many different players, institutions. You yourself are in research. Your aim of this project is larger than the initial one, because initially it was knee, now you're going to everybody. So how are you going to organize yourself to make sure that you have a product to sell?
I have the same problem with organ. I cannot see you, so maybe I will ask. I got the part of your question. So the part of the knee, you are talking mainly about IPs. Okay, the part of the knee is solely of our group, and we have the specific agreement with our current project partner. So the knee reconstruction, let's say, and inverse engineering part, and real-time system, which is the most significant achievement, is solely on our side. So it is quite straightforward. Yeah.
So now you focus on the knee. So I'm looking at the prototype you right now have. So you mentioned you're able also for inflammation. Is this current prototype also to be, I mean, I find, can you elaborate a little bit how it does, and if you have any efficacy comparing with the state of the art right now, because you mentioned also that you achieved the same.
So we cannot estimate inflammation using motion capture. What we can do is somebody goes to the doctor and they know they have inflammation using MRI or whatever in a specific area of the knee. What we can do is we can estimate the pressure distributions inside the knee using a particular gait pattern. What they do in clinical practice, they instruct osteoarthritis patients to modify their gait. So if we have a medial, let's say, pain of the knee, they say, okay, modify your gait and walk like that. But they don't know what's happening inside in the knee. They have no idea. So it's a trial and error procedure. We can estimate, using a specific gait pattern that we observed, whether pressure and load is reduced inside the knee, and then instruct the patient automatically to modify their gait accordingly so that pain disappears. Okay? This is the idea. And when you said comparing to the state of the art, the real time is what makes the difference, the real time procedure. This happened last April. And real-time performance is critical for developing front-end applications that are follow the M-health concept.
If I get it right, you build a basically technology version of a physiotherapist, right?
Technology version of physiotherapist. A technology aid of physiotherapist, yeah.
So what's your go-to-market? Is this going to market through physiotherapists, and to what extent are they open to use something like this? Because it feels like you're sort of competing with them. So
yeah, you're right. You're right. Our first aim. This is where we did our first tests in the TRL7, let's say, test. Was a rehabilitation center. So what I didn't have time to explain is that our first version works with motion capture systems that are available in physiotherapy labs. So you can get your motion capture. We do our mathematics, and then you get in real time your result. So this happens inside the clinic. Second thing is that we are compatible with wearable sensors. And this is something happened during summer. So using wearable sensors instead of expensive motion capture systems, we can do the same thing. So this goes out of the lab now. And this is the tricky business problem to handle. Yeah. So when going outside the lab, you may license that to a rehabilitation lab or think larger.
So if you look at all the technology that's available there already, your main benefit is that you do it basically cheaper than...
Real time is the biggest technical achievement. So even in physiotherapy labs, they cannot do it in real time. They cannot estimate dynamics in real time. They can estimate kinematics in real time. There's a huge difference between kinematics and dynamics. The second thing is price.
But can you translate it real time in tangible, more tangible values? So how is it that gonna impact on me? I mean, regarding physiotherapy or what?
Yeah.
So about having that information in real time, how does it impact?
Good.
Can you translate it in a
yes,
more...
Yes, when we talk about dynamics and real time, so what comes in real time now compared to the state of the art is dynamics. So dynamics come in real time. So the dynamics added value is that we can estimate forces that reflect to pain directly in real time.
Yeah, but
so
then I have to change the way I run or
either
whatever.
Either way you have to do that. If you have inflammation or osteoarthritis, you have two choices: either change your way of walking or surgery. These are the two choices they have. So either way, this is clinical practice. The problem is how to optimize non-surgical procedures and rehabilitation.
Quick question, final question from Aurelio.
It's a quick one. So your team, you are very expertise heavy on the science side. Who does the more business directional side of things?
Dimitris, bottom left. So he's an application domain expert with an MBA background, and he does right now the business plan we have to do before launching the spin-off. So initially we focus on a specific application area, which is gator training, and then we scale. And of course we are missing the marketing expert.
Okay.
All right. Thank you once again. VVO Group and University of Patras. Yeah. Okay, that brings us to the end of the opening Tech for Society category. And next up is women-led innovation. But before we get moving on that, I want to just share with you something. At last year's Innovation Radar Prize, we had 5 categories, therefore 5 category winners, and we had then the 6th overall Grand Prix winner. And when it came to the prize ceremony, of which is happening here tomorrow at 15:45, gentle reminder, every single winning organization, the representative who came to collect the prize was a man, and collected them from our Commissioner Maria Gabriel, who has also been a very strong advocate of women in technology. And so it did not go unnoticed that all of the recipients, at least the person accepting the prize from the Commissioner, were men. But this is from a program where there are thousands of women doing extraordinary work. So now, in a sense, that the Innovation Radar Prize up to now has been gender agnostic. It's not about identifying individuals, but teams and innovations and celebrating them, irrespective of the gender. But I'm delighted that for the first time this year, we are going to have a specific category focus on women. And women who are leading teams, delivering great breakthroughs and innovations with EU funding under Horizon 2020. So for the first time, we have the category, and I'd like to invite up, first up, if I'm not mistaken, it's Nikki from University of Patras. So first, over to you. You have 3 minutes. You have your mic,
yes.
and you'll have your 3-minute countdown starting here. The floor is all yours. Nikki.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, let's start. Oh, no? Okay. So hello from my side. My name is Nikki Kousi, and I'm working as a senior researcher at LMS of University of Patras in Greece. I'm actually really happy to open this new category here and to present you our innovation that comes from the European-funded project Thomas. So our focus in Thomas is to introduce mobile robots autonomous enough so to support human operators while increase flexibility in production. So it is a fact that today current production systems cannot accommodate the demand for personalized products. So in fixed automation, we see robots that are fast and dexterous, but their actions are pre-programmed. So it takes a lot of time and effort to make changes in the line and add new processes. On the other hand, in manual assembly, humans are extremely flexible. But consider that a human may need to carry more than 10 kilos for at least 400 times per day. So this creates strain and even physical disorders that can lead to production downtimes. So our solution brings together humans and robots under a reconfigurable factory. We introduce mobile dual-arm workers that can autonomously change positions in the factory and act as assistants to humans since they take over the difficult tasks. So to enable these resources, we developed a software platform that digitalizes the real-time status of the factory and uses artificial intelligence to make decisions on how to plan and distribute the tasks among the resources. So our solution is in a prototype version with a mobile robot and the digital factory. I wish I could bring it with me, but it's not easy. We are working on a use case from the car assembly, and the current findings show that we can achieve a considerable impact on their production system. So in terms of market potential, right now we are in the phase of analyzing the market and starting the exploitation in the Thomas-involved sectors from the automotive and the aeronautics. And in the next phase, we plan to install our solution to the end users and actually gain interest from the investors to support us in commercialization. And in this way, we'll be able to enter into other manufacturing sectors where there is evidence that Thomas solution might have a great impact. So in terms of team, what we have achieved so far is a result of the synergy between experts from safety, robot perception, system integration, and of course the commitment of our end users for supporting our activities. And LMS has been the coordinator of the project, so Dr. Sotiris Makris is heading our robotics group. Myself, I have been the coordinator of the project. Christos Gournelos has been the chief robotics developer, and of course a group of people is working in the lab to make our objectives a reality. So to summarize, Thomas Reconfigurable Factory has reached TRL 6, so it's validated in a relevant environment. And the next milestone, close milestone, is to validate it in a real setup in our end-user factories. So with our fully operating and committing consortium, we are working to bring actually the technologies in market that will lead us to the factories of the future. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Nikki. Jury. Over to you.
Thanks a lot, Nikki.
Yes.
So to what extent were end users, like real factories, involved in the whole development process? Because I want to understand that. And the second one, I think one of the key use cases you're talking about is strengthening people and support them. So to what extent have you been looking at exoskeleton developments? Because they are also getting into factories at the moment.
Yes. So to start with the first question, in the project we have 2 companies involved. So it's a large manufacturing car company, PSA Group, which is in France, and they produce different kind of cars, and they want to strengthen actually their assembly systems to be able to do that in a sustainable way. And in the second, we have a second end user, which is Airnova from Spain. They are a first-tier supplier of aeronautic structures, so they have this manual job shops production example, and they want to increase their automation in their system. So somehow we have the fully automated production system that we want to make more flexible, and the manual one that we want to support bringing out the robots. And in your second question, indeed, one of the strategic targets we have is to support human operators, so to help them being more productive. And exoskeletons are indeed some ideas we have, and we are working as LMS in other European-funded projects. So it's one part of our activities. However, in this project, we are focusing more on supporting the human on the assembly tasks and taking over the hard work. So the ones that use big parts and humans cannot transfer them. So we have the robot to do that, or also the robot does the repetitive work so that the human can focus on the operations that actually need his intelligence. Okay.
Clear. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation. So you are more in software than in robots. How do you compare yourself with the developments that Japanese are doing recently? I mean, what is the main difference between what you do and what they are doing now?
Yes. So indeed, we are more on the software. We are working also on the hardware, because we need to adjust the hardware to fit our software to work in an efficient way. So we use sensors, we validate sensors, we make measurements, and it's a really important correlation. So in terms of the Japanese, I would say that we are working really hard to strengthen the artificial intelligence part. So to use the research that has been done in previous years and to bring it and enhance the manufacturing sector by using this technology as applications. Yeah.
Can I just make one question? Have you tried in the artificial intelligence using all the developments in terms of following out animals behave? Because that's, I think, very relevant to what you are doing.
Yes, we have done some research on that, and in terms of artificial intelligence, we are using different kind of, let's say, methods. We are working with search methods to generate alternatives and evaluate them, and I know that there are search methods also with, the anti-colony search method and so on. So it's something that we can try. But yeah, we are not using it right now. Yeah.
A quick question regarding the commercialization, because your current setting, you have these two, PSA and the other one. So how do you intend to, so what, they're just testing there or giving some, what is actually their ownership in all these and how you intend to commercialize going further?
Okay, can I go back in the slides, maybe just... Okay. So I wanted to go in the slide with the consortium. Perfect. Thank you very much. Let me go back there. Okay. So this is the consortium, and we have, of course, the two end users, PSA and Airnova. And in terms of commercialization, what they plan to do in the first step is to exploit the solution internally. So we are focusing on some specific operations right now inside the project, and we will demonstrate the technology in specific assembly cases, but they want to use it in other factories of their own. So first thing is internal exploitation they will do. And
the question regards more ownership.
Yes. So yeah, I will go to that. And in terms of that, we have the technology providers and the system integrators. So what we plan to do, and we are already doing, is to give the ownership, let's say, in the system integrators, software and hardware, and they will go on for the commercialization inside the network. And we have also the technology providers that we will work on the commercialization of the individual technologies like safety sensors that the project is producing, and also software for object detection from the robot perception guys.
I have one quick question.
Yes.
So you talk about human interaction with robotic, which is great, but how have you, in terms of implementations, how long would it take to train someone to be able to manipulate the robot, because not everyone can do it, so how is that going to take in terms of time?
Yeah, this is really important, and actually there are other European projects right now that they give a lot of focus on that. So how we will train the human, how we will make him feel comfortable, and we are also working in this direction. There are, let's say, a set of solutions that you can have. So it's either train your operators through a virtual reality world. So before going into the physical interaction with the robot, train them in a virtual environment and make them feel more safe. Or during execution, use augmented reality to, let's say, provide them information on how the robot will work. So we have also some applications in this direction, and we are doing it in this project. So we give him alerts, we show them where the robot will be in the next cycle, so that the human feels comfortable to be close to the robot, because this is very important. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks very much. One more time for Nikki. Thank you. And our second finalist in the Women-Led Innovation is Anna from SUPSI in Switzerland. Anna, the floor is yours, and you have the 3-minute timer there.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anna Valente. I'm professor of industrial robotics and the head of the Laboratory for Automation, Robotics and Machines with SUPSI Switzerland. For the hybrid project deals with maintenance, repairing, and overhaul of big plants operating in second-tier aerospace, oil and gas, and energy generation industry. The core idea of this project is to build equipment to run the aforementioned task while preserving human safety. Now, in this field, there's a rising interest in drones mounting sensors and cameras to gather information from the field. Safer for human? Yes. These drones, though, purely run inspection. But then, when it comes to actually fix the things and fully refurbish structures, there's always the need to rely upon human beings. Our aim is to have robots in place of humans while executing maintenance tasks in harsh conditions that are extremely dangerous. For this very reason, I'm presenting you today this mobile platform. This is a platform that can inspect and repair through multiple technologies. It can climb, it can operate in wet environment, and a very interesting aspect is the business model, because it can be sold in the form of fleet to stakeholders running maintenance tasks in this value chain. What is our current status? At the moment, we reach a TRL number 7. We've got this platform run with inspection cameras as well as cold spray. This means that it can clean up corrosion, it can join, it can solder, and it can coat. This platform is running 24/7, so it's very robust, and has been validated on a number of industrially viable scenarios provided by partners within the project. Now, the business, the expected impact is massive for such application. Just to give you a little number, little flavor, we are talking about only for spares of 100 billions in Europe, with a very promising growth rate. This implies that our next steps are very, very challenging. We plan that we can reach the market in 3 years with a very sustainable business by relying upon 50 million euros. We already have a number of signed letters of interest by prospective customers showing support. We've got a very solid technological pipeline of developments, bringing us up to the level that we will build robots for repairing underwater. On the top of that, we've got the team. This is a rich in competence, rich in soft skill team. Is extremely transdisciplinary and has a broad competences, all put in synergy. Our evolution is relentless. We believe the future of robotics is safety, and we're doing our best to shape it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anna. Jury, the floor is all yours.
You relate to the spare part market. How can you explain that? Because it's mainly for
Absolutely.
repair, right? So
Yeah. So we are talking about those numbers were related only to spare. This implies to fix and refurbish parts that can be mounted in big plants. So valves or components of portion of pipes, interfaces, flanges, something like that. So spares in manufacturing. There's a huge, actually, sector, a huge business. If we think about technology transfer, this application from spare to just think about naval, maritime applications, or water industry. So there's a massive potential impact that we have on the plate.
But you're not replacing those spares, you're replacing the people that are actually doing the work. So that's not total, that's 15 billion. That's not your total, say, opportunity. Right.
We are talking about setting up a business to build these robots that would substitute humans in executing maintenance tasks on parts. Now, those numbers were related to spare. We counting a worldwide business size of trillions in the MRO. So when it comes to naval, water applications, oil and gas, and energy generation is a very, very big potential to intervene in terms of maintenance.
So what's the first maintenance job you plan to do with the robots?
We are already running some maintenance activities.
Give some examples.
So we are cleaning up corrosion from surfaces. We are detecting anomaly such as cracks, and we are capable of coat with cold spray technology, so we can refurbish the structure without getting rid of patches of metals. This implies, for instance, in tanks. Just an example. You should activate a bypass, get rid of water or whatever it is, the material in the tank, cut off the patch, and then have a person soldering a new patch, certify the tank, and then having the tank back running. In this way, for instance, with cold spray, we can coat the surface without cutting any material. But of course, cold spray, it's really harsh technology. It's dangerous. So it's not like something that can be run by humans. It's really unsafe. It is done. It's something that it is done every day, but it's not safe. So we want to have robots to do that, and humans can supervise the things from control rooms on other platforms in a very, very comfortable environment.
So, just one question. You have about 20 partners in your consortium.
Yes.
How is going to be the leadership? I mean, how is this going to be a business? Are you going to be needing cash and investments? What is the steps forward?
SUPSI, with regards to this application, is the owner. We sign an agreement within the partnership, so we own this solution. The intellectual property of this solution, because this was an outcome of our team. So we own this very solution. And this implies that we can set up a business out of it in the form of, potentially in the form of spin-off company that can be participated as well by SUPSI. We put on a plate our value, that is the robot, our competencies, and we can we are willing to negotiate equalities with whoever could be a supporter and investor with us.
Your robot is able to do the same thing, like it does the diagnose, and then and all on this. So is prepared to, depending on the problem, to address the solution.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And
for standard, just for standard problems. So, for instance, it can be trained by people able. But if there's something that is not standard, we can have an hybrid approach.
So my question is, to which extent is actually replacing the need of the human going there anyway for other problems?
The human can exploit the robot, having the robot like his eyes. So the human can see through the cameras and the sensors of the robot. And from a control room, this is a setup that works very well, for instance, in maritime application. From the control room, there could be an expert.
Let me rephrase my question. Maybe what your solutions account for how many percentage of the typical, interventions that are needed in this type of tanks. So my question is, okay, is able to repair. I'm not an expert in the area. Is able to repair corrosion? Mm-hmm. But that doesn't account for 80% of actually the interventions that are needed. So I wanted to be able to understand how is it actually replacing the need for man intervention to repair on the majority of the issues that, depending on the industry, petrol industry, it's facing. Do you get my question?
I think so, yes. The point is that, again, the standard repairing, which are actually very simple tasks, counts for, I would say, 85% of the cases. Then there are unusual problems. What I'm saying is that when it comes to unusual problem, there's no need for physically climb a wall for a human. There's a robot looking through it, and from the control room, the human can generate a recipe for fixing that can be delivered to the robot while fixing. There's always a brain on the back, of course. So the human can always, it would be nice, always have the situation under control, but from the control room. What I'm saying is that there's no need for that guy to physically be on site looking at the corrosion spot. He can do that through the robot from someplace else, perhaps.
One final, so your go-to-market, to get to those clients. There are companies do that today. They provide those services, and you're basically providing a substitute for maybe their work. A lot of that stuff is tendered out. So have you been thinking about how to go to market?
Absolutely.
And can you compete, or would you use those channels?
Well, of course, placing robots is going to drastically change the value chain in this business. We are not saying that we need to compete. The thing is that the business model is to give these fleets to companies running maintenance. So they should be, also equipped with robots. So we are not having, an infrastructure where we have the robots on site. We manufacture the robots, we produce the robots, but we deliver the robots to the maintenance companies, and they are going to take care of having robots and skilled operator working in this value chain. Of course, the good aspect is that being the value chain dramatically changed, potentially, we hope so, there's going to be also new skills on the plate. People need it for running robots. People need it for training people for running robots. So there's a new set of skills that could be introduced in this value chain. Is going to change the level of, I would say, the added value in applications where right now the added value, it's literally, at least at technological level, it's literally very poor. So it's a new way of doing business.
I've been doing a case before in this similar area where the business model of those services were just so related to the old-fashioned way of doing things. So breaking through it and really changing how things are tendered out takes some time, but I can share a bit about that.
Maintenance companies are really, really interested in this application. These are platforms that can run 24/7, and therefore, the human skill force is not so always available worldwide. So it's not so simple to find an expert in soldering, for instance, for maritime application available worldwide. So sometimes these companies are losing opportunities because of the workforce. Of course, it's limited. And in this case, we are reaching this level. So we are boosting up this level. We've got platforms in harsh environment that can be exploited when humans wouldn't access for environmental limitation, for the weather, for the drizzling, for the frozen environment. So it could be literally an add-on, not a substitution.
Once again, thank you very much to Anna from SUPSI in Switzerland. Delighted to have the final finalist. We have Margaret from Biotrem in Poland. And the floor is all yours. And you'll have the 3-minute countdown clock here on the left. And you have your pointer there. Of course, excuse me.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Małgorzata Ten. I'm CEO of Biotrem. Biotrem is producing and developing compostable tableware, mainly from wheat bran. Our mission is to fight with the plastic pollution. I would like to present to you Brand Box. It means future of biodegradable takeaway containers. Every day, global society produces 3.5 million tons of waste, and most of that are disposables. Latest European Union regulation ban single-use plastics, but leave us without real solution. That ban will take into force in 2021. So we are here to deliver what legislators require and customers need. Our products are absolutely compostable. They are friendly to environment. In the production process, we are using only one ingredient, which is wheat bran. And wheat bran is a byproduct of the milling process. To achieve waterproofness, we are using only natural and sustainable coatings, also compostable. Our offer is not only for the end customers. We are offering solutions for the milling business because we can transfer their waste stream into the additional margin. And why we will succeed? Because our products are loved by people all over the world. It was proven by our current sales with the current product, and we verified by Brand Box with the real market and the real customers. And we verified that in the first year of the production, we can sell 200 million pieces of Brand Box, which comparing to the size of the market, it's really small amount. And what will be this recipe for the success? First of all, we need strong partnership because we need to increase the capacity to spread our technology all over the globe. We need to raise the funds for the research and development, for the new facilities, also for the marketing, and we have to have supportive legislation from legislators all over the globe. And who is Biotrem? Biotrem is led by me and George Wysocki. George Wysocki is the inventor and the heart of the company, but our success wouldn't be possible without a committed, strong team of people who are behind us. Takeaway containers is only the beginning. I'm pretty sure that within the next 1 year, we introduce to the market cups and other waterproof products. We'll produce not only from wheat bran, but also from the other waste stream from agriculture business. We'll skyrocket our revenues up to, I think, 20 times. And my dream is to have Biotrem facilities on each continent. And our plans might seem ambitious, but they are absolutely fit to the opportunities we were given these days. Thank you very much.
Jury, over to you.
Yeah. So do you plan to sell the product itself or license the technology or sell equipment?
We have a lot of offers about licensing, but we thought rather about the joint venture because the technology is still developing. So it means that we can offer not only existing solution, existing license, but also what we'll invent in the future. So joint venture, we have potential clients for the technology. It's mainly milling companies from States, from Australia, also from China, actually lately.
And did you protect the IP? Is it by, the know-how or any patents?
The product is protected by patents, and of course the know-how is another part of the intellectual property, because we are also not only the producer of the plates, but also we are producing the technology, the machinery.
Hi. So can these be cleaned and reused, or are they single-used?
It's single-used and it's fully compostable. The product we have right now, these are plates for the short contact with the food, and they are composting in 30 days. What we want to do next is takeaway container, because it's much bigger market and it will disappear. The plastic will disappear from that market in 2021, and it will be also fully compostable. Maybe not in that short period of time, but it will be single-use and it will disappear and will not interfere with the environment.
And is there any vision to make something that would be reusable and cleanable?
It's not our scope of our actually activity, because the company was established by the inventor who was former millers. So for him, the first goal was to use the waste stream, because wheat bran is the waste stream from the milling business. It's like 30% of grain, of each ton of grain, it's a waste, it's wheat bran. So he started to think how to reutilize that. And from the completely new idea, completely back idea, it was created something absolutely new.
So you're clearly not the only one taking this market. So there are many other players. So where do you consider yourself? Looking outside, there's another competitor supplying to the EU. Surprising, by the way, but maybe they're also funded.
Yeah.
How do you look at your competitive position?
First of all, we started 20 years ago, so it means the inventor started to work on that technology 20 years ago. We built the production plant and we verified the technology on industrial scale in 2016. So it means we have really strong base to compete right now, because our competitors, when the EU regulation came, they start to work, and we are far, far ahead. And the market is so big that right now there is a lot of possibilities to enter to each company who has that kind of solution. But as I said before, we were first to do such a things a few years ago.
Is there enough wheat?
That's why we are testing not only wheat, because during the test we discovered that not only wheat bran is suitable for this technology, but also different type of waste. Actually corn, like barley, like even we are doing from sargassum, from algs. So this is the new inventions, and it will be offered to the market within the next 1-2 years.
So I think the key question is the business model. How do you plan to scale this? Because everybody is developing other technologies, and a licensing model might...
First of all, we have to establish the plants near to the suppliers. So it means to avoid additional cost of ecological costs to transport. And also the product, if we import that from Poland to States, the cost of that will be extremely high. Nobody will buy it. So we are searching right now, and sometimes they are searching us. Those kind of companies like millers, they are interested in our technology because they have a solution for their waste stream. So this is the first thing, and they will deliver us the supply.
So the last question to that is, I think it's great that you start from the supplier side. The key question then is, how do you ensure the success of all those factories, because you can control the channel to market. So how do you do that?
We already produce plates for the short contact with the food. So starting from 2 years ago, we start to search for the distributors, for the final clients, and we already have a lot of agreements with really big companies, and they are coming to us right now because of the regulation, because they are searching for something which is environmentally friendly, and based on today's current product, we can offer them something new, which is takeaway, which will be cups. So we already made the base for the new project like that.
Cool. One last question. What's your gross margin on products, roughly?
I don't know. I can say 20%.
20?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you competitive with those the other guys
Actually, we increased the price over last year because the market, it looks like that right now, that we can do that. I'm pretty sure that the cost of production will go down if we make a scale, if we do that in the different geological regions. So, because at the end, nobody would like to pay too much for disposable. So it has to be cheaper, and it will be cheaper, but it's just the beginning, so that's why we can increase the price. But in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, we have to be maybe not as similar to plastics, but not too much expensive.
Now, there's a premium currently on the biodegradable disposables, but you probably have to go down. So yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, well done, Margaret. Thank you to Margaret from Biochem in Poland, which was the final finalist in the Women-Led Innovation category. And next up, we have the Innovative Science category. We've again 3 finalists there. And indeed, as you know, the Framework Programme is also deeply and generously supporting scientists in companies and universities and research institutions across the European Union and in associated countries. And I'm delighted that we have 3 excellent examples of the envelope-pushing scientific breakthroughs that are emerging from those investments in Horizon 2020. So without further ado, I'd like to move to the first finalist, which is the PCI group in the Oslo University Hospital. And I think it's going to be Theo, yes, who's going to be taking over. Here's the microphone for you. Your 3 minutes is going to start in a moment. Theo.
Give me a sec to
Sure. Take your time. There's no rush.
Lights and everything and the environment. Hello, I'm Theo, and you all know that cancer is one of the major killers in our times. But what would be the worst form of cancer imaginable? That would have to be a deep-lying cancer, incurable and grim, like brain cancers, for example, glioblastoma multiforme. There are 3 kinds of treatments for glioblastoma currently: surgery, chemotherapy, radiation therapy, which all something's happening here, which all give an overall benefit of survival of 14 months to the patient as opposed to 3 months without treatment. But there are substances, photoreactive substances, which are very specific to glioblastoma. For example, you shine blue light and they glow back red, so they can very precisely guide surgical resection. But they also participate in a kind of treatment called photodynamic therapy, which uses more intense light to produce cytotoxic byproducts of oxygen to kill the cancer cells. A limitation of photodynamic therapy is that light does not penetrate very deep into the tissue. So how do we circumvent that? Why not use luminol, for example, which is a chemiluminescent dye used in forensics, as an inside light source? And this is the concept behind Lumiblast. So we are trying to make all cancer cells into miniature lamps, which will then activate the photosensitizer and then will coerce themselves to commit suicide, so to speak. And this all will happen within the mitochondria, which is the power plant of the cell, and which can sustain the light to kill the cells. So a key product to Lumiblast is the mitochondria targeting and proprietary luminols. The project kicked off in 2016, and currently 80% of the chemistry has been done. And now we are in cell testing and validation of the chemicals in cells, and we have identified several successful candidates. Next, in December, we'll have the patent published, and after that, in the first semester of 2020, we will have the first proof of principle in animals, we hope. And after that, we will reach out to you guys, to investors. Please raise your hands if you're interested. And we will try to get money in order to get this Lumiblast into the clinic. Apart from glioblastoma multiforme, we have identified some more grim and hard-to-cure, incurable ailments which Lumiblast could be relevant to. And here is the Lumiblast team, just a flash, and the specific OS team that works in Lumiblast. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Theo. Jury, over to you. Oh yeah, you need this.
You first.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I was going to ask for preclinical, some efficacy data, or I mean preclinical, but you just mentioned just far too early. It's just testing now with some cells.
Yes.
But can you maybe elaborate a little bit on the achievements you have had so far?
The achievements we have. I don't need this anymore. We have identified some compounds from our partner in Greece, who are the chemists.
For the answer, use the microphone.
Yeah. So we have identified some compounds from our chemist partners in Greece, which kill the cells via lumiblast. And we have shown that, and we have included this in the patent. So these successful candidates, which are luminose, which will target the mitochondria, we will take them to the next step now to use them on animals. And in animals, we expect to have bigger success. And that's not only our idea, it's also the evaluators' ideas in the meeting we had for the lumiblast. So we are at the preclinical level, so to speak, but a very early one. And I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, we don't have enough data, but you mentioned that you're going to apply now for a patent. Have you done any prior art on that?
We have applied, and now it's the publication of the patent.
Okay.
Then we will have to go into the national stage.
Okay.
Each country to.
So no prior art in the area where you have.
Well, the priority date is there since 18 months ago.
Not
or
priority date, data. Priority art. You know, before you can.
Oh no, there was none. This is a new concept.
Hello, just one question. You started this project about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to start again, what would you do differently? I mean, what have you learned?
Well, it will sound a bit arrogant, but nothing, because we were lucky to start in a way so that we attack the core of the problem. So we didn't start slowly, but we attacked the core of the problem, and since the beginning, we tried to get evidence that it works, of functionality, and we got that. So I don't see many things that would change, actually. We're going quite smoothly. So
great initiative, really good to start that. And but you're probably not the only one seeing cancer as a problem. So
no.
I got 2 questions. The first one is about the current project and the investment that's required to basically get to a life-ready product, including all the stems and all that.
Yes.
And the second one, how many other players do you know that are also looking for creative and new ways to fight cancer?
Okay, I'll try to answer your questions one by one. So first question. We will need a considerable investment fund, but our group is very, very knowledgeable in these ways, because Christian Berg, who is the coordinator of this together with me, he has floated 2 companies, made public 2 companies in PDT. One is gone into the USA also. It's called Photocure, and the other one is PCI Biotech. So
Photocure did something similar, so the same?
No. Oh. So Photocure is PDT. And that's what I wanted to make sure that I can explain to you. PDT is something I've clinically worked on in London, in UCL, but it's different, because in PDT you have external light, which does not go into the tissue deep.
I'm deviating you from the real question. So the investment and the amount of other competitors.
The investment. So we will need money to go into clinical trials. That's the crunch point. Yeah. So there are 2 scenarios there which we're currently pursuing. The first one is to make an SME again, like Photocure or PCI, a spin-off, which will be patent holding and will then get money from investors and move on. And this is the more favorable scenario. The other one is to try to partner with a patent and to find some people who will invest, or companies, big companies, pharma companies, and so on and so forth.
So in numbers?
In numbers now we haven't crunched our business plan yet. So, but this will be done with the help of Photocure and PCI Biotech during the animal studies.
So have you secured the investment to do the clinical data? You know, the animal studies. Have you secured the investment already to do the animal tests?
The animal studies are a part of the FED, so they have been financed. They are financed.
Okay, that's
these are fully financed. They're part of the FED project, so they're covered.
Okay.
So the problem is after that.
No, I know, but those results are key to secure what's coming afterwards, right? You need those results in order to be able to convince.
Yes, because we have candidates, but we will probably need evidence to see what we're going forward with. Hello today, yes.
Hello. And what covers the patent exactly?
So the patent, we were proactive, and our chemists managed to cover most of their foreseen structures in the patent. So the structures that are successful nowadays, they have all been covered by the patent. So in that aspect, it was a broad patent covering a lot of compounds.
Okay.
Yes. You need that?
Can it be considered then prior art? Okay, so now you have protected and you have applied for a patent covering all the applications, but you still don't have your lead candidate. So can these then be considered prior art that can actually prevent you from protecting then your lead candidate? It's maybe too technical, but I guess.
No, not at all. I think I just answered that. We were lucky that our patent covers all the art that we've made so far. So, and in the future, and the patent, the compounds that will be made in the future. So after this, we will probably, if we have more successful candidates or new ideas, then we'll make additional patents which will lean on this one and build on the project.
You filed it in Greece, right? You filed it in Greece.
The patent, no, in the UK. Yes, because I'm Greek, but I work in Oslo. So, yeah, sorry.
Makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions from the jury? No? Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again.
Thank you.
Okay, and second up, we have in the innovative science category, of course, Max Planck Institute. How could we forget? You've got your microphone. Over to you. Your 3 minutes. We're going to, the countdown, you'll see it on your left-hand side. Floor is yours.
Is my microphone on?
Yes.
Perfect. So I want to start with a number. By the year 2050, we will need to feed 10 billion people. And in order to stop a global famine, we need to almost double agricultural productivity. How are we going to do that? My name is Armin Kubis. I'm a PhD student at the Max Planck Institute of Molecular Plant Physiology, and today I'm representing the Future Agriculture Consortium, where our goal is to boost crop yields. As you might know, plants use the photosynthesis process to fix CO2 from the air in order to grow. However, there's a side reaction that leads to the release of CO2, thus reducing carbon fixation by up to 40% and limiting plant growth. In order to bypass the CO2 release, Future Agriculture is developing a disruptive biotechnology, establishing a new metabolic process to boost crop yields. Our innovation includes several steps. First, we developed a computational simulation to design a novel and optimal carbon fixation process. We then construct the components of the process. These are enzymes, biological catalysts, and in order to optimize each component, we use enzyme engineering. Then, to test the carbon fixation process in a rapid way, we combine the components in simple organisms like bacteria. And finally, we transfer the process into plants and test its effect on growth. Currently, we are still at a low TRL and are validating our technology in experimental plants. We plan to transfer the results into major crops, with wheat being the first candidate. Wheat is one of the most important grain crops. Over 700 million tons are produced yearly, and they serve for 20% of the dietary calories worldwide. The transfer to other major crops will follow directly after. And within future agriculture, the SME Evogen is currently establishing these first experimental plants and will also be in charge of transferring the results to staple crops. I want to finish with our vision. Boosting agricultural productivity by up to 40% could enable us to feed a growing world population with the limited land resources we have. This could be a new green revolution towards a sustainable world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Armin. That was the shortest. You came in 25 seconds early. That doesn't mean you win, by the way. Okay, but well done for that. Jury, floor is yours. Armin, get ready for this.
Hi.
Hi.
So you're talking about growing more of the same major crops, right?
For the first candidate that feed the majority of our population, yes.
And what's the impact of intensive farming times 10,000 on the environment?
So the thing is that this will only change how fast the plant grows and how much yield it can produce. It doesn't mean that you need to farm these plants any particular way. You could use the modern ways of intensive farming. You could use the novel approaches of stacked fields. You could use this technology in any kind of plant, in any kind of form of farming, whatever we find to be the most sustainable way to farm in the future, I would argue.
And the carbon fixation and the part that you might test in bacteria are just one small part of the whole metabolism of the plants. So how and it's not linear processes. I mean, it's difficult to anticipate what would be the consequence on other metabolisms. So how did you anticipate that? I mean, I guess you will in the end discover that when you go to the when you transfer that to your first plants, but how did you try to anticipate that?
One thing you can do is educated guesses of what is a good thing to do, what not. You can look into literature of similar things that have been done. And then, as I told you, the third step is to test this in fast-growing organisms like bacteria, as I personally do in the laboratory, but we also do it in cyanobacteria, which are photosynthetic organisms, where you are already closer to the context of a plant. And there we already learn more and more of potential problems that we didn't anticipate and can solve now. So we can solve these problems in these quick growing organisms before we go into plants. But then even in the plants, this needs testing and iterations to see what is limiting and how we can fix this before we even go into these crops that could then be the end product.
How does a company like Monsanto plays in your story? Because I mean, they own the rights to patents in terms of products. I mean, how are you going to be playing with these large?
So the big players, I would say Monsanto, they don't have any known product that is going into that direction where they try to fix carbon fixation, nothing known. They might work on something, but nothing where they try to fix this problem of photosynthesis of carbon fixation. What they are known for is plants that are resistant to diseases, plants that are resistant to chemicals that you use to control weeds. But how they will interact with a product like this, it's hard to say at the moment.
So I'm not a biologist. Let's take that first. But nature has a tendency to do things in a pretty logic way and that are there for a reason. So what are the side effects of you changing how plants are behaving? That's the first question. And the second one, I think you're changing the nature and the genes of the plant. So there's a massive fear in the community that gene alterations have effect on people's lives and health. So 2 questions. How do you play with that?
Okay, the first question was nature doing its way. So that might you might ask something like, Why didn't nature come up with itself? Like, how will this act?
And what are side effects that...
So you need to keep in mind that the crops we used are already different genetically from the wild varieties we found thousands of years ago. And we selected them and just let them mutate themselves. So they are now in a state where they are ideal to grow on a field, where they have the perfect conditions. We irrigate them, we use fertilizers, and we control the weeds. So these genes, they are not ideal for a plant that lives in the wild, in a forest, because there it has a different condition. It doesn't have perfect water, it doesn't have perfect fertilizer, there are different diseases. So this is why this hasn't come up and is only suitable for the context of agriculture. Regarding the safety, this is a very delicate topic, especially on our continent. I think we need to keep the dialogue open about this potential to use some kind of technology like this. We can neither ban it completely forever or force it on anybody. So I think the only approach is that we keep talking like we do right now about this, where this could go. This is still many years ahead. And then make sure that if this ever is something in the future, it's only done in a safe, controlled way where people are accepting it and not forced to use this.
So you want to increase the production yield
Yes.
ultimately. And if I'm not mistaken, last year we had a similar project actually presenting here. So I still didn't get what's so special about your concept and the approach that makes you believe that you're going to be more effective in reaching that goal. You didn't show any results also, so what's so special about your approach?
So the special thing is that for the first time, we want to completely avoid the release of CO2 that is happening during photosynthesis. So far, there was only projects that are published and known that engineered this release and made it less drastic. But never has anybody managed to completely bypass it. So this would reach another limit you could go up to. If you just engineer it, currently we get to 10 to 20%. But theoretically, by bypassing it, you can push it up to 40%. And it looks like that's something that is needed regarding the growth of the population. Like we need to see where we can still go, where the potential is still there left. And only with the bypass we could go so far.
Okay, clear.
Any more questions from the jury? No? That it? Okay, go on. Sure.
The good old. So how much investment is required and how do you go to market in your mind? Because you're early.
So as I said, we are currently in experimental plants in greenhouses. This is very far away. I would say it's a TOR of getting into between 4 and 5. And so where we currently are is at the end of the of our FET Open. So next year we will conclude it. What we will need now is to see how we can further conduct the research in the plants, which take the longest of all the steps to grow because plants are much slower. So what we definitely need is to see how we can get funded to continue this project so it doesn't end up dead in publications, but not in innovation.
Thank you very much. Owen, back to you.
Okay, thank you. Armin from Max Planck Institute in Germany. One more time, round of applause. Okay, final finalist for this category, Innovative Science. I'd like to welcome Luca from Space Structures in Germany. You have 3 minutes. Countdown starting any second now. Oh. And here's the microphone.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Luca Pompa from Space Structure GmbH. And we are an independent company developing space hardware and also engineering service based in Berlin. And our goal, and first of all, I would like, before starting, to thank all of you to give us this opportunity to be here today. Our goal is to be a global distributor of structural parts that are named Strat. You can see here. These parts nowadays are made, as you can see from the slide. So you see a carbon fiber part and some aluminum ends. The goal is that this part has to connect two other structures and has the goal to sustain all the loads. These struts are mainly used nowadays in spacecraft, as you can see in this moon lander. To be competitive on the market and solve the main problems, we have to care about these main points that are listed in the slide. First of all, the mass. Imagine that 1 kg is like 20K. So if you want to launch 1 kg, you have to spend 20K. Then we have problem of thermal expansions due to different materials. So they can lead to failure. And then we can also have problems mainly to geometry interface and so on. Our innovation is space Strat. So it is a Strat, and it is the world first that is fully made in carbon fiber. And we can exploit a new and innovative technology that allows us to align precisely the fibers. So we can design and make the Strats as the supplier wants. So no any problem of strength, maximum stiffness, and so on. But the main pros are we are ultra light. We can save 80% of nominal mass. Then we can also be super stable dimensionally because we are using carbon fiber. And then we can also be, we can customize our product to the need of the supplier. To make this, we need the best minds. Let's say like this. This is my team, and we are composed mainly from aerospace and mechanical engineer, but we are also a lot of nice assets in business and marketing. And we come from all over the world. Our achievement is that we have some prototype that you can see here, and then I can give you to test. We are trying to make testing on this, and we are already thinking, and we already know the manufacturing process. The goal is, first of all, we want to expand to a mass production in space, racing car, and everywhere you need a high-performance equipment or Strat. But of course, please remember, we want to get to the moon until 2020. So, thank you a lot for this time that you gave me, but mainly please help us to get to the moon and also to be a global provider of this high-performance Strat. Thanks.
Jury, over to you. Questions for Luca.
So before the question starts, I can give you these samples, so you can see the quality that we achieve. And okay, we can split one here and one here. There are different kinds. We can achieve a lot of possibilities of design.
And while we look at that, can you tell us about your IP and how you protected that, and how can you sort of...
So we are working on trying to make, let's say, a design IP. And at the moment, let's say, we are exploiting an innovative technology. So we are adapting this technology to this use. So the goal is to proceed with the design IP, and we are still working on it.
So guys like Airbus and all those guys?
Yes, they can
do the same thing, right? Or
yes, but let's say we already have some agreements with them. Let's say we have already our market, because the goal is, first of all, we know them, because we are providing some of the previous Strat that have aluminum ends. And so the goal is that we are experimenting for them, let's say like this, something new. So they are not going to try something that could be really dangerous, let's say like this.
And it's a crucial remark. You already have contracts with some of the clients that you're after.
So we have contracts for the normal Strat, which is the one that you see at the beginning, that has aluminum, let's say aluminum side. And we have a contract also to have this on the moon on a lander. But of course we have, let's say we are keeping in touch. 24. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think it's something just I didn't understand. That's also because to my mind, carbon fibers it's quite old technology. So what's really new in what you do? Is it the type of fiber? Is it the
yes,
fact
I can tell you. If you can please, I will show you a nice picture that will show you the technology that we are using, and probably it could help you also to understand. But okay, I can explain you. So, okay. So let's go here. So as you can see here, this is the technology. So we can precisely align each fiber where we want. So this means that we make a structural analysis of the part. We see where the loads are passing by, and we precisely locate the fibers. So we can really tailor the Strat for the need. And nowadays, no one is doing this.
Okay.
Can you explain me what other projects is your company doing? I mean, this is one product only. What is the size of your company, and what other products you do?
Of course. So the company is about 15, 16 people at the moment. And we are mainly developing, let's say we are performing engineering services for most of the famous company, and for also big satellites like biomass and so on. And at the moment, we are also providing some hardware, which are always in the field of carbon fibers and high strength and space-approved materials.
So basically, what you're doing is an incremental innovation of the way that you put the fibers in your...
Yes, exactly. It's like we have a product that we sell that also other competitors have. And on this, the competition is the price. But we know that with this product is really used everywhere. Let's say something that you need in space structure. Let's say most of the structure has this. But we want to apply the new technology, and we can save, let's say, for example, 80% of the mass. And in space, mass is money. Any more questions from the panel?
Financials?
So financial, let's say now at the moment, we are, let's say, working with our, let's say, founding, and of course with the Horizon 2020. And we are looking, of course, for some, let's say, income, something like this. But at the moment, we want to develop and see what's coming on, because we have some contracts, let's say, and we are some people really interested in it. But they will really, let's say, attach us as soon as we show the test results. And we are making these prototypes to be tested. Financially, it's still, let's say, working on.
I get it. Thank you.
Okay, one more time. Thank you very much to Luca from Space Structures in Germany. Okay, that brings us to the end of the three finalists that we have for the innovative science category. Next up, the final category, industrial and enabling technology. And I'd like to bring to introduce the first finalist, the Transylvania University of Brasov. Please, could you welcome up to the floor, and you have, voila, there you go. 3 minutes starting soon. Thank you.
Hello. So first of all, I'd like to thank you for the invitation to be here and for the opportunity to speak in front of you. So my name is Lucianitu, and I'll present today an artificial intelligence-based solution for personalized medicine in heart disease. It was developed during the My Health, My Data Horizon 2020 project, whose goal is to basically fundamentally change the way how sensitive patient data is being shared and exploited. So today, 18 million people die per year due to cardiovascular disease. This accounts for around 1/3 of all the deaths worldwide. So basically, more than 100 people die during my pitch alone. So during the last years, there has been an increased interest in developing personalized medicine solutions. However, to develop such solutions, you need to rely extensively on large patient databases. Now, with the GDPR, the access to personal data has been very much restricted, and it's very difficult to develop such solutions. Now, our solution is called Cypher AI, and basically it uses homomorphic encryption and artificial intelligence, and we are focusing on two different scenarios. The first one is hospital-driven, where basically encryption is employed to ensure that the actual patient data never leaves the hospital. So basically, data is encrypted, it's uploaded to the cloud, the model there is trained, it's deployed as a service, and then finally the hospital calls the secure and privacy-preserving service to perform patient-specific clinical decision-making. In the second use case, Cypher AI is allowing a user, a patient, to directly work or call a secure and privacy-preserving service to perform monitoring and assistance from a personal device like a smartphone. So the differentiating feature is that the actual patient data never leaves the hospital or the personal device. So far our solution is patented. It has been published in multiple peer-reviewed journals. It was awarded by Google DeepMind, and we already have 2 prototype installments in clinics. In the first one, we are non-invasively diagnosing coronary artery disease, which is basically the most important single cause of death worldwide, and we are helping plan the treatment in children with heart failure. Now, we are currently adding more pilots, like cancer. We have just won a new Horizon 2020 projects and have multiple other proposals under review. The goal is to further develop the algorithms, of course, perform large-scale clinical studies, and then obtain the CE mark and enter the market. And we really believe that we have to do so because Europe spends annually 111 billion on cardiovascular disease alone. So we need to cut down these costs while doing what is right for the patient and with lower costs. So this is the very ambitious team that has made everything possible, complementary, and very much future-looking. So I'd like to close with our mission statement. Cypher AI will deliver a secure and privacy-preserving solution for personalized medicine in heart disease. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucian. Okay, get ready. Jury, over to you for Lucian. Carlos.
Yeah. One question. You are speaking about being a platform, and at the same time you try to go to a particular vertical.
Yes.
I mean, what you are doing basically is providing a solution for multiple solutions.
Yes.
So why are you combining the two?
Why? So basically, we have a history of now, I think, 7-8 years developing personalized medicine solutions in heart disease. So this was basically our core activity. And now with the, let's say, the appearance of this technology called homomorphic encryption, and then also with the appearance of the GDPR, basically not like putting it in place, but when it was already announced that it will be there, we had this European project, My Health, My Data, where we basically had the idea to basically develop this solution and to then demonstrate it specifically for cardiovascular disease, which is actually the most important disease worldwide, which we have to address.
So,
yes.
So you're not the only one looking at what's happening with the heart of people.
Yes.
Apart from all the dating sites, but you've probably seen what Apple is doing with their health management and heart rate monitoring and ECG functionality in Apple Watch.
Yeah.
So how do you relate to that, and how can you build on that? Or
so basically, what we're mostly addressing, or basically what we have done so far, is mostly addressing cardiovascular disease based on data acquired in the hospital. So basically, medical images using high-end medical scanners. And yeah, it's a bit of a different use case. That's why, the technology itself is also suitable for the other use case, where you have like an individual and he has some monitoring being done by sensors, and we can also employ it there. But basically, the differentiating feature is that by having this technology of homomorphic encryption, which initially was like very time-consuming, it's very slow, but then we combine it with AI, with artificial intelligence, and we make it real-time, we make it very fast. Then we have this like unique solution that solve also the problem of having patient data being like revealed. That would be like the first use case, which was actually also on the.
I have an
slide.
observation more than a question, because the way you start, you distract us towards the heart disease problem, and that's why also the question. I mean, the vertical, and then what you're pitching is actually the encryption technology with the artificial intelligence.
Yes.
So I didn't understand exactly in which way you are more effective in the diagnosis of the heart diseases. So that And I couldn't see there the value coming from the artificial intelligence because you focus then on the pitch on the encryption. So it's just more an observation. We don't have time to ask the questions, but it distracts and confuses us a little bit.
Yeah, probably it came from our background that, yeah, as I said, we worked mainly on this CVD use case.
Any more questions from the jury? Arno?
No. No. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Lucy. Okay, now, hang on a second. This is going to have an interesting question to ask. Is Haiku Tech Europe here? The next finalist? Yes, you are. Excellent. Brilliant, because we were looking for you and we have finally found you.
Yes.
Brilliant. Your name?
Anton Litke.
Anton, delighted that you're here. This is the second, but the final finalist. I don't know if you've heard the yes, bad, if not good news.
Yes.
Yes, you have.
The good news, yeah.
That the third finalist, Skeleton Tech, could not make it because of illness. So the last pitch today, Anton, it's over to you. And the timer, the computer. Look, you'll be fine. The timer's broken here. Okay. Do you know what? You can have the mic. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Anton Litke and I'm project manager at Haiku Tech Europe, a small company from the south of the Netherlands. We started to move from fossil fuels towards the renewables. However, to enable this transition, we need mass-scale production of solid-state batteries, electrolyzers and fuel cells for energy conversion, storage and transportation and mobility applications. Performance of these devices and their reliability strongly depend on the quality of thin ceramic layers composing them, and small defects present even in one few-year part can compromise an entire fuel cell stack, which costs tens of thousands of euros, on an entire battery pack. We can mitigate this problem by implementing reliable quality control and assurance. However, up to date, it is frequently still performed by human operators who visually assess quality of the product. It is a tedious and very time-consuming task. Besides that, we as human beings are not really designed to see at very high resolution, which may be needed to properly assess quality of the product. And the last but not the least, we are all individuals, and we may have different opinions on the same topic. It is fine in general, but for mass production and quality control, it's a no-go. At Haiku Tech, we implement artificial intelligence for real-time image analysis. We train our neural networks to recognize complex patterns in the digital images, and then do it without human interaction. Our systems can do analysis of large amounts of data in a fraction of the time that a human being requires to do so. We are talking about 10 seconds against few hours for analyzing the same amount of data. We train our system not only to tell us what is in the images, but where those objects are located and how large they are. This is very important for process control. And the last but not the least, an artificial intelligence system deployed on different machines in different parts of the world will give the same answer for the same input data. These combined results in a substantial cost reduction for mass production of the target products. In the course of past 2 years, we went through from a tabletop proof of concept, which we built roughly 2 years ago, to a standalone prototype unit that we put through 2 field tests at our partner site, and we are currently building our first production units that we are commercializing and negotiating with potential clients. This wouldn't be possible without the team of professionals who are mainly engineers. We are present in the European Union and in the United States. We are mainly engineers, as I mentioned. We have experience in multi-layer ceramics, AI development, equipment customization, and we provide consultancy services in these areas. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Anton. Jury, questions? Arnold.
Hey. It seems, I mean, AI that is used for image recognition. I mean, very big companies that I won't name, like many of them are developing such algorithms. So what makes maybe the specific application so specific that what you develop would still be competitive compared to the enormous power and so on?
Okay, thank you for the question. Indeed, big companies are now more and more smaller, and really, yeah, the medium-sized companies are working in AI technology. In this sense, we are not so much different. So what we do, we work directly with the clients in multi-layer ceramics. Our main profile, our main market is multi-layer ceramics, equipment for multi-layer ceramics. And we started developing this system because there is a huge demand in this field for optical inspection, fast, reliable optical inspection for mass-produced parts. And so we know the product better. We know the manufacturers who are going to upscale in the coming years from, by a factor of 10 to 100 to 1,000. And we are working closely to them. And we also provide a complete solution for which optical inspection is only, let's say, one part, completing the picture.
So there would be a big barrier to transfer, for example, for Google to transfer its algorithm to this specific market, or is it just that they don't care?
This is a good question whether they want to do this, because Google is aiming at slightly different markets. We can talk about the total market for batteries or fuel cells or electrolyzers. This is in billions of euros. But in this case, we are talking about a smaller portion of the market, which is probably less lucrative for Google. Google is also focusing on self-driving cars, which is more profitable in a shorter run.
So it's not big enough for
probably we don't think that big companies will join this specific market, and we are focusing on the markets where we have the most expertise.
So you want to stay on a niche, kind of?
For now, yes. Because in principle, you can apply AI for different things, but for us, it's important to understand the system through. Essentially, yeah, besides know-how of the systems and ins and outs of multi-layer ceramic production, theoretically, no. So another company is able to build a system doing similar things. The question is whether it will be also as fast, as reliable, and whether the end client would like to start this track.
Did you really start from the beginning with all this entire quality control?
Essentially, yes. We have some background experience in optical inspection, but those machines are not manufactured by us, and they are based on classical image processing techniques. And about 2.5 years ago, we started this project. It's part of QSOF, European Union-funded project, and there we started from scratch developing the optical inspection system for high-resolution imaging and high data throughput analysis, because we are talking here about up to 2 terabytes of data, 2 gigapixels of data, and up till now we haven't seen many other companies doing the same, because usually you're talking about a few hundreds of megapixels, it's considered high resolution, and we are now capable of we are offering a machine cycle of 10 seconds for 1.6 gigapixel data being captured, processed, and the answer being given.
So in electronics production, that's been in use for many years. That resolution might differ.
The resolution is different there, and the approach is also slightly different there. Because in electronics, if we're talking about PCB inspection, they are looking at different type of errors. They are looking at misplacements, they are talking about tolerances. And for that market, classical approach is still doing it pretty well. And the machines have been sold there for years and in large quantities. When we are talking about inspecting ceramics, it's on one hand somewhat easy, on the other hand it's a completely different field, because classical approach is very difficult to apply here. Some things are very subjective, and you have really to go for some more intelligent systems for that.
Can you say anything about the market potential of this technology?
For us, what we are looking at...
What's the size of the market? What's your potential to getting there?
Yeah, I can give you the global number for optical inspection, visual inspection market, which is 2 billion. This is really big.
But that's pointless? Because
yeah, this is pointless. What we are planning to address, our addressable markets, we estimate to be roughly in the range from 2 to 5 million euro a year in the European Union with this technology. We see now a lot of interest from potential clients, but one of the barriers for them is to see the system working. That's why we're negotiating various types of proof of concepts with them, so they can see that the system can perform analysis on their product as well.
And in terms of competition, is there anything that you...
So for this particular market and very similar technology, we are not aware of other competitors. There are competitors, there are other companies who work at even higher resolution, but with much smaller objects. They're not working with 14 by 14 square centimeters objects and not looking at this amount of data or not with this cycle time, 10 seconds, which is starting point for semi-mass production of certain components.
I just wanted to check what is unique, because one thing is the techniques, like they are now standard. The other thing is the data set. So my understanding is, are you using the normal frameworks of Google, Facebook, and all these training neural networks, and you just feed them with a very relevant...
So this is a very technical question, and I can answer yes, the frameworks themselves. So we use the frameworks of big boys because they've developed it, and those tools work very nicely. What we do ourselves, we've been developing our our neural networks, artificial neural networks for the past 2 years. We tailor the structure of the neural networks to suit for our needs. Because on one hand, it is seems to be simpler. On the other hand, lots of standard neural networks or standard approaches, they don't work that nicely for the objects that we are inspecting.
Okay. Any more questions from the jury? No? Okay, well, Anton, one more time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that brings the pitching session, the finals, to a close. Tomorrow, the winners will be announced in the room here, 15:45 through to 4:15. So please come along, bring a crowd, and to find out who the winners across the categories and the Grand Prix winner will be from the pitches you have seen. So hang on, I see a hand up. Theo, did you have a question you wanted to ask?
Are you sure it's this room? Because I saw in the program room 1.
Well, do you know what? It may be room 1. Whatever's in the... Whatever's in the program counts. Forget about me, right? Okay? Right, go by the program. All right, thank you. All right. So please check your programs. Yeah, I can't... Yeah, Eva, I have this covered. You think I was going to forget about the cocktails? Yeah, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, now I come to the most interesting part of the proceedings, to tell you with great pride that there are mocktails, real cocktails happening outside here now. So please go get yourself a stiff drink and enjoy the rest of the day and mingle with everybody. And I'd like to put a final round of applause for our jury and most importantly for our pitchers. Thank you, everybody.